I'm Natasha Kaufman, and welcome to my podcast, Don't Just Talk, Say Something, Lessons on 20 Years of Business. Over the past 2 decades of running my public relations firm, NKPR, I'm so grateful to have met, worked with, and learned from so many talented industry leaders. And I'm so excited to be able to share their stories and life lessons with all of you on this podcast. Inc. Entertainment is synonymous when it comes to Toronto's restaurant, nightlife, and hospitality scene. My good friend, president and founder Charles Khabouth, started the company 40 years ago and has built it up with dozens of restaurants, including Amal, Byblos and Sofia, clubs like Rebel and Cabana Pool Bar, the stunning Bisha Hotel, and he employs over 3,000 staff. On this episode of the podcast, Charles and I discuss the importance of listening to your critics, constantly learning, and focusing on your vision. Here's our conversation. This podcast I started basically to give people some insight into the last 20 years that I've been in business, and you were a huge part of that, certainly from an inspiration perspective. And I thought it would be great to have you on the podcast because when I think about the fabric of the city, you're it, and everyone says it. You are very much sort of the fiber, the cultural fiber of Toronto. And now I'm watching you take over Miami in the same way, and I watch it with a sense of pride because we're lucky because we had you first. But maybe Charles, tell us a little bit about how you started, because I remember the days of still life, but you started even before that. Tell me, what was it about this industry that inspired you to keep going and, fast forward how many years later and everything that you've accomplished?
I mean, I started when I was 22, which is really for the kind of business, and especially during those times, was unheard of. But I was pretty aggressive and bullish, and the city didn't have much going on in 1983. Believe it or not, 90% of the entertainment and the hospitality was all done in hotels. It was the King Eddie, it was the Roy York, and it was my love for fashion, music, dance. I grew up always wanted to create something that revolved around fashion and music and dance and entertainment and hospitality. It was just in my blood, honestly. And the city definitely lacked, and I was very young, and I thought there was an opportunity there to start, in 1983. And it kept me going. I'm very aggressive in my way of thinking. I'm always aggressive in looking for the new things to do and learn. I'm like a sponge. I'm always learning. And I learned at a young age from my dad that, he always said, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. So I'm always craving to sit with people who are more knowledgeable or have more experience in certain fields, where you sit there and you learn. Otherwise, all you do is listen to yourself over and over again. It definitely helped me surrounding myself with some great people, traveling, and not being afraid to, move forward.
Well, that was my next question, because one of the things I've always admired about you is that you have no fear. And so I guess the question would be, are you ever afraid? Like when you're about to embark on a new project, you seem to be that person that just goes full steam ahead. Do you ever feel that sense of like fear ever?
I get stressed a little, but I'm not afraid because I've always been somebody that can fix and adjust. I think what's really important is, you do your homework. I mean, I don't go into things blindly. I do my research locally. I travel. I do more research. The thing about me is I move, as they say, on a dime. I move quickly. If I build something, if I do something, if I launch something, and I feel like it needs to be fixed, adjusted, change a bit, the experience, then I do it quickly. I definitely believe in changes and improvements. I'm not afraid to take criticism or advice. I find a lot of people, feel threatened when they get advice or criticism. Me, I welcome it. And it's come over the years. Really, you don't start off at 22 feeling that way, but over the years, you learn that, being criticized, if it's coming from a good place, then I welcome it. And it's definitely helped me shape my career, my business, my brand, is listening to other people and really listening. The biggest problem people have is listening. They can hear you, but they're not really listening. They're just dying to answer. And I always say to them, listen carefully, understand what someone is saying to you, because it's not just the words, it's what does, that person, want, or what's he trying to come across by telling you certain things. So I find that listening is as important as anything else, if not more, because that's how you understand how to move forward in life, is by listening to what clients want, partners want, the city needs, the new opportunities, and you just hear it from different people,
It's so true what you're saying, because if you're listening just to respond, you're never going to fully retain what the person's saying. It's intention. You need to hear the intention of what someone is trying to convey. You're 100% right. I want to switch gears and talk about brand and your brand. When I look at Bisha, it's you. Everything about you were the first building really in the city when you did it with Lifetime, where it was everything about Bisha is you, everything from the black walls to like every piece that you chose to put in there. It's incredible, truly. Like, it's a testament to your brand and how authentic you are when it comes to building your brand. Are there any learnings that you've had along the way to sort of get you to the place where you are very clear on what your brand is?
Definitely. I was talking about listening to what people want, what they say. And it's important to listen, but it's even more important to focus on what your vision is and not just hear 20 people speak in a room and leave that room confused. I think what I do is I listen and then I extract what I need to make my brand better. But if you are just listening to 20 people a day with their own opinion and you're not focused, then you lose track. I think it's very important to be focused, to have a vision, not to get off that train of thoughts and your vision, but to make it better. I listen so that I can make things better and not constantly, flop around back and forth. This guy likes the wall, blue, and this person says that room is dark and that person is bright and music's too loud, too low. You can never move forward with your brand if you're constantly unsure about what the vision is. I think it's very, very important to be focused on the vision and have a target. I mean, if you don't have a target, then it's tough to maintain that. And it's important also to immerse yourself in the luxury world and the brand world. And I sometimes, when I'm speaking to my staff, I say to them things like, why don't you walk down Blue Street, go into Prada, go into Louis Vuitton, and understand what brands are, from the guy who opens the door dressed a certain way, from the way you're spoken to, from what the store looks like, or how clean it is, or how you're taken care of. Those are the brands that made it. They didn't make it because they didn't get to where they are today just because they're expensive, but because they had a vision, they stuck to the vision. And sure, every once in a while, you have to change a few things, but it's usually for the better. So understanding, being focused on the vision you have. It's when you have a target, you have somewhere to go. You can drive for days and not get anywhere, and you can drive for half an hour and get to your destination. So I think it's important to have that target.
But Charles, how do you and I'm asking actually for myself, but like, how do you stay on track with your vision when you have all that noise around you? To your point, 20 people in the room and everyone has an opinion and you know what the target is. So how do you manage that? I think, I've seen you do it. You do it really well, but how do you do it?
Honestly, I've learned to have meetings with smaller groups, because when I sit in a meeting with a group of 15 to 20 people, you're right, it becomes a lot of noise. You have to focus on the people that you respect their opinion highly and are highly motivated, understand the brand, and then have that discussion. But truly, every time I have veered off my vision by listening to a couple of people that are not as involved as I am, I find myself in the same spot saying, why did I even think to veer off from, where, my head is at or what my vision is? I think it's very crucial to stick to the vision, have a plan, listen to people, but not too many people. Again, you have to pick your battles, you have to pick who you listen to. But it's important that you do all of that, and you get there with experience and dedication to what you're thinking of all the time.
Well, speaking of experience, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self? You've had all this experience, and you think about everything you've accomplished and still will accomplish. I know that we're going to see a dozen Bishas all over the world. I just know it in our lifetime. So tell me, what is that? You're 22 years old. What advice would you give yourself with all the knowledge that you've had?
Honestly, for me, it's about doing your homework, doing your research, being focused, not allowing too many people to enter, your thoughts with too many opinions, and just stay the course. Just, day in, day out, day in, day out. Doing your homework is really crucial. Your research, for me, is the most crucial thing. And immersing yourself in other brands. I walk into stores, I walk into hotels, I walk into properties that are branded, and I look around and I try and find the common thread between them. And I find that a lot of them are in some way attached. Those are the great brands. And that's why people follow, great brands, and great brands seem to be doing better and better. Everybody wants to be part of a brand. But at the end of the day, it's all about the quality, whether it's the fabric, the meal, the service. I think, being focused on delivering an experience, something different, delivering quality, delivering care. I think it's very important to be sincere. In our business, being sincere is really crucial. When a client is asking for something, is looking for something, it's not, brushing it off or giving an answer that really doesn't make sense just to get by. I think it's important that we deliver a good message that we're here to do better, to accommodate people, to take care of them and deliver a great experience. People don't go out to eat anymore. Nobody needs another pair of pants, another shoes, another, we thrive on buying these to be part of the experience and, or going certain places. And I know I have accomplished something, great, very good. I don't want to sound arrogant. When I have people that call me and say, it's my birthday, can I get a table at Sofia or Amal or Akira, for example? And here's somebody who doesn't care if they eat Lebanese food at Amal, Japanese at Akira, or Italian at Sofia. They want the experience of being in one of our venues. That, to me, was a testament to the fact that we have become a brand, and a good brand that people enjoy and look forward to being part of. Because someone is not saying, if I don't get a table at Akira, I'm going to this other Japanese restaurant. They're saying, as long as I'm one of your restaurants or venues, then for me, it's what I'm looking for. It's the experience and not so much that specific meal. That to me was probably the biggest testament. Honestly, it's been a few years now where I felt like, wow, we finally achieved that, because it takes years. There's no brand out there that people respect that hasn't been around for generations, So, but for me, this is year 41. So it's almost generations. I started in
41. Is it 41? No.
40.
Wow.
May was, beginning of May was 40 years.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yes.
And you still look like you're 22.
It's the lighting. It's the lighting. The hair and makeup people are here somewhere. I don't know.
I love it. I always end the podcast asking this question, which is, and with you, it'll be difficult because we've known each other for a very long time. What's the one thing that you've always wanted to ask me that you've never asked me that you might not actually know about me? Which is a hard question because I would say we know a lot about each other.
I know what drives you. Usually for me, it's a big question. I always enjoy asking people what drives you, because the most important thing in life is to be driven, for me, and to have, but like you said, I've known you since you were 19 years old, and I know a lot about you. So unfortunately, there's nothing there,
You can ask me what drives me.
Well, I know what drives you. I mean, you're very much similar in some ways to what I do. I know you can answer what drives you. I mean, I know.
No. You're 100% right. We are very, very similar, and I think that's why we've gotten along for all these years. And it's and we'll be friends, till the day we till we're very, very old. But only remember each other when we were young. But it's all the same things. I mean, we are driven. Respect matters to me. Being intentional, being authentic to who and what we are, I think is really important. So it's true. I was thinking about this because I asked everybody at the end of the podcast, and I'm like, he won't know what to ask me because there's not a single thing he probably doesn't not actually know about me. So.
But honestly, I think we're good people and people who build brands, regardless of what they are, and people who brand a following. We're all looking for the same thing. I mean, delivering a great product, whatever it is, whether it's PR, whether it's clothing, whether it's food and beverage, anything, hospitality. For me, it's always about. And I teach my staff, the single most important thing is to be proud of what you're doing every day. Money will come. Definitely, we're all in business, and we like to make money. But for me, it's always about being proud on the delivery and people feeling like they had a good experience and build a client base. Before I go, I want to tell you. When I speak to my managers in the morning, sometimes my first question is, how was last night? For example, if I happen to be home early. And when a manager answers me by, oh, it was great, we had sales of 30,000, I'm like, wait, stop. I didn't ask you what sales were. I asked you how the night was. Because for me, it's all about the experience. Secondary, we'll discuss, finance, how we did financially. But for me, my first question is, how was last night? Did we have any issues? Was the night, great? Did people have a good time? Was feedback great? My second question is, what were sales? So I never confuse the two. Delivering a great product is number one. And I think finance will happen once you build that relationship, that people can trust you and come regularly to see you for whatever service you offer. Money will come, but money will not come first.
I also think you can't get attached to money. It'll come, you'll spend it, you'll give it away. There's a lot, but you can't get attached to it. But you're right. You have to think about how will people feel after they've either spent time with you, spent time in your venue, worked with you, whatever that is. No one's actually going to remember how much they spent with you. They're going to remember the emotional connection that they had in whatever way.
A good culture of staff is really crucial for my brand. That's probably the most crucial thing, because I can only be at one place at a time. And if you have the right culture of staff that understand your vision and know what the end result should be, then I feel comfortable enough. So building a good staff culture and understanding of what the brand is all about and why we're here and why we do certain things is what helps our brand grow and become better all the time. So focusing on staff training and culture is really, really the essence of my business, because we have almost 3,000 staff and there's only one of me. So these 3,000 staff in one night and one day and 1 week can make me or break me or make, Ink Entertainment a better company or a worse company. Imagine how many people these hundreds of staff touch every night and every day. So it's very important to build the culture, and then you have a brand and a business.
Well, you've done it, because I think about the people that have worked for you at a senior level. They've been with you for decades, 20 years in some cases, 30 years in some cases, 5, 7, 10 years. I would say when I think about Ink Entertainment, I think of all the dedicated people that have worked for you all those years. And so I think as you're growing, the new people that you hire are lucky, because you've created a home for them from a long-term perspective, and that's rare, I would say, in your industry, but quite frankly, in any industry these days. So kudos to you, because that's not common in the world today. Charles, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It always makes my heart happy to see you, to hear from you, and to be able to connect. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Charles mentioned 3 key things he focuses on when it comes to his business: being sincere, quality, and care. It's easy to see why he's so successful. I always love hearing from you. Feel free to DM me at Natasha NKPR, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review and rating. Until next time.